Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's English podcast. My name is Steve, and I create content to help you practice real English in ways that are practical, enjoyable, and connected to real life. I know what it feels like to struggle with a new language, because I've been there myself. I've felt the hesitation, the frustration, and even the embarrassment of not being able to express myself. That's why today's episode is very personal. How I learned English. People often ask me, how did you improve? What methods actually worked for you? So in this episode, I'll share my own journey. From my awkward beginnings, to the habits I built, to the turning points that gave me confidence. When I first started learning English, I was incredibly shy about speaking. I memorized grammar rules and long vocabulary lists, but the moment I had to use them, everything disappeared from my mind. Even the simplest sentences felt intimidating. I worried about my grammar, about my accent, about whether I sounded strange. One day, I went to a cafe and tried to order coffee. I wanted to say, "Can I have a cup of coffee?" But instead, I blurted out, "Give me coffee." The barista smiled politely, but I felt so embarrassed. That moment taught me something important. Knowing English is not the same as using English. I realized I couldn't just study English. I needed to practice it in ways that felt alive. So I built small daily routines. Every morning, I read one page of an English book out loud. At first, my voice sounded strange, but slowly it began to feel natural. In the evenings, I wrote a short diary in English. Just 3 sentences about my day. At the beginning, my diary sounded simple. Today, I cooked dinner. It tasted good. I feel proud of myself. But over time, it grew richer. Today, I cooked dinner from scratch for the first time. The meal turned out better than I expected, with rich flavors that surprised me. As I sat down to eat, I felt genuinely proud of what I had made. I also recorded my voice and compared it with podcasts. It was uncomfortable at first, but it helped me notice my mistakes. And I often listened to the same podcast many times, until I could repeat full sentences. It wasn't about studying for hours. Usually, it was just 20 to 30 minutes. But here's the truth. Consistency was more important than perfection. Later, I had opportunities to use English in real life, and that changed everything. When I traveled, I pushed myself to speak in shops and restaurants, even if my sentences were broken. One time, in Los Angeles, I asked a bus driver, "This bus go downtown?" He smiled and said, "Yes, it goes downtown." My grammar wasn't perfect, but he understood me, and that was enough. That moment was powerful. It showed me that communication is not about perfect grammar. It's about connection. The more I practiced in real situations, the less afraid I felt. I stopped chasing perfect English and started chasing real conversations. There were a few turning points that showed me how far I had come. One evening, I watched a movie in English without subtitles. I didn't understand every word, but I could follow the story and laugh at the jokes. It felt magical, like a new world had opened. Another time, a friend told me, "Your English is easy to understand." That simple compliment gave me more confidence than hours of grammar drills ever could. These experiences reminded me that progress is often invisible day by day, but clear when you look back. That's when I stopped comparing myself to native speakers and started comparing myself to who I was yesterday. There's one more thing I must highlight: listening. No matter how much you practice speaking, if you can't understand the other person, real communication is impossible. That's why I invested a lot of time in listening practice. I didn't only listen to conversations. I also listened to short stories written in real, everyday English. Each paragraph was like a small window into real life. Someone catching a bus, facing an unexpected problem, or sharing a personal memory. At first, I could only catch a few words. But as I repeated the same stories again and again, those words turned into phrases, and phrases turned into meaning. And something amazing happened. The more I listened, the more natural my speaking became. The expressions I had heard many times started to come out of my own mouth. Listening to real English stories not only improved my comprehension, it also helped me understand American life and culture. I could connect with the situations, the emotions, and the rhythm of daily life. That's why I strongly recommend listening to this type of practice. It's one of the most powerful ways to make English a part of you. So, what's the best way to learn English naturally? 1. Listen before you speak. Your ears train your mouth. 2. Use real-life materials. Podcasts, short stories, daily conversations. These are far more powerful than just memorizing grammar rules. 3. Repeat and shadow. Don't be afraid to listen to the same story 10 times. Repetition is what makes the language sink in. In the end, it's not about forcing English into your memory. It's about living with English until it becomes part of who you are. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I hope it gave you both motivation and practical ideas for your own English journey. If you'd like more practice, check out the podcast playlist on this channel for extended listening, the shadowing playlist to practice speaking aloud, or the listening practice series for more advanced training. This channel is built with dedication and heart, from people like me who learned English later in life, and from team members who grew up in the United States and share their insights. Together, we want to help you grow into the confident English speaker you dream of becoming. And remember, don't wait for perfect English. Start listening, start speaking, and start living with English today.